So, Apple's March event is just around the corner, and we're expecting a number of new product releases this spring. So here's a quick breakdown of what we can expect based on the current rumour mill. Starting off with the new OLED iPad Pros. Now, these will probably be the stars of the event because the iPad Pro is expected to receive its first redesign since 2018. Now, personally, I don't think this will be a revolutionary upgrade because I think that for the most part, the hardware on the iPad has peaked. Though what we do know is that the iPad Pros this year could receive new OLED displays, which would be an upgrade from the mini LED display that's currently used on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and a huge upgrade over the standard liquid retina display that's used on the 11-inch model. Essentially, OLED panels allow for better contrast and deeper blacks when viewing content, which will make the iPad Pro a much better media consumption and creation device for digital artists and video creators. We're also expecting Apple to add the M3 chip for additional performance. Not that anybody's going to notice that, but presumably this means that the iPad Pros this year should support Apple's ray tracing technology that was first introduced with the iPhone 15 Pros last year. And this should allow Apple to bring the same AAA console level games to the iPads as well. Some rumours have also suggested that the bezels on the iPad could become a tad slimmer this year, since they do look quite dated, especially in 2024. And there's even talk of some form of MagSafe wireless charging making its way to the iPads, which could theoretically allow for reverse wireless charging with devices such as the iPhone and AirPods. On top of that, we could see Apple alter the placement of the selfie camera to give users a more natural look when they're on Zoom or FaceTime calls. And to be fair, this is something that we've already seen with the 10th generation iPad, but given that the iPad Pros also have this magnetic attachment at the top for the Apple Pencil to charge on, they would likely need to play around with this arrangement in order to make it work. Which brings us on to the next product category we're expecting, which is an update to the iPad's accessories. So we're expecting a new Apple Pencil 3rd generation with Find My support in case you ever lose the Apple Pencil, which, believe me, has happened to me more times than I care to admit. And it should also come with some additional features like adjustable tips that allow for different levels of pressure sensitivity. There have also been rumours of a new Magic Keyboard with a larger trackpad and potentially an aluminium base. Now, I'm hoping that if these rumours are true, that Apple doesn't ditch the current and iconic floating design, because for me, I feel like that's what gives the iPad Pro Magic Keyboard case its magic feel. But I guess if Apple does want to make the iPad more of a compelling laptop replacement, and if they do want to add things like a full row of function keys at the top, then they may have to part ways with this iconic floating design. Now, unfortunately, one thing that the rumour mill does seem to be indicating is that the new iPad Pros could be seeing price hikes, which makes sense since OLED panels are presumably going to be more expensive for Apple to source. It's the reason we don't have OLED panels on the MacBooks just yet. Now, some rumours have hinted that the 11-inch iPad Pro could start as high as $1,500. But to be honest, I think that would be too high of an increase, and I think that Apple, despite all the jokes that we like to make about their pricing policy, knows this too. And so what I think is a more realistic scenario is that the iPad Pros each receive price hikes of $200 each. So the 11-inch model would start at around $999, and then the 12.9-inch model could start at around $1,299, which is about the same price as Samsung's own Tab S9 Ultra tablet, which is another flagship tablet that ships with an OLED display. But of course, this will still likely raise a lot of questions about the astronomical price gap that's going to exist between Apple's iPad Air and their cheapest iPad Pro, because we know that Apple traditionally likes to operate a smooth pricing ladder where you're always tempted to upgrade to the next highest model. And that's where I think the rumours of a new 12.9-inch iPad Air come into play. You see, for the longest time, customers have begged Apple to produce a larger iPad model that doesn't cost the same amount as a MacBook Air. And it seems like Apple might finally be answering those prayers by introducing a new 12.9-inch iPad Air alongside the refreshed 10.9-inch iPad Air, which is expected to receive either the M2 or the M3 chip. And when you think about it, this follows a similar strategy they've used with the iPhones and the MacBooks, where you have a smaller MacBook Air and a larger MacBook Air, an iPhone 15 and an iPhone 15 Plus, which are meant to bridge the gaps between the iPhone 15 Pro and the 14-inch MacBook Pro. And so based on that, I'd expect this new 12.9-inch iPad Air to start at around $700 for the base model, which I'm really hoping doesn't ship with 64 gigabytes of storage because that would be quite abysmal in 2024. Speaking of MacBook Airs, we should also be seeing a refresh to both the 13 and 15-inch models, which should both come with the new M3 chip, though I'm not expecting any major hardware or design changes at this event. That said, it will be a good way to future-proof the laptops for any AI features that Apple announces at WWDC this June, since I'm guessing that the M3 chips will be more capable at handling AI tasks with their faster neural engine. And that for the most part is everything that we're expecting for this event. Possibly we could see some new colours for the iPhone 15 lineup, since Apple does usually like to introduce some new colours at this time of the year in order to keep the iPhone hype going. And AirPods Max, we know that they're expecting some sort of colour refresh with USB-C at some point this year. Maybe the spring event is the place they do that. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they decided to plug in some Vision Pro content towards the start. Just keep in mind though that rumours are just rumours, and whilst they might all be true, they could all turn out to be entirely false, and Apple might not release any new products at all this spring. Well, okay, maybe I wouldn't go that far, because generally when it comes to hardware, it's quite difficult for Apple to keep a control on their supply chain leaks, and so we usually do have a good feel for what is going to come out. But that said, there are always last minute surprises that none of us were expecting, like with the Studio Display in 2022. And so, Apple may have a one more thing up its sleeve that we're not aware of. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the rumor mill for this event. Are you excited for any of the products that we're expecting? And if you found this video useful, leave a like. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, hit subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.